Hello viewers, this is Bruce Dean here, and I don't know how to start videos. Something I've been thinking about lately is the MCU reboot after Secret Wars, and how it'll work. I've seen some excellent pitches from various fellow YouTubers who are much more talented than me, so I'd advise checking them out after you're done with this video. Especially Cape and Cow Cafe. Shout out to him, he is amazing. Literally, like the day after I had the idea to make this video, I saw that he uploaded that same day. Pure coincidence, but yeah, that's kind of why it took so long making this. I was like debating on even making it after that because his video was so good. But no, I decided to make this one anyway. But yes, after watching this, you should absolutely go check his channel out, like his video and subscribe. He's really talented dude. A lot of good ideas. Actually, a couple of his ideas lined up with mine. Not all of them, but you know, a couple of them. And I like his idea. Like, if they don't do things my way, then I absolutely hope they do things his way. So yeah, go check him out. He's awesome. Now, I have plenty of ideas for different MCU reboot projects, including X-Men, Avengers, Fantastic Four, etc. But what I want to focus on in this video in particular is Spider-Man. I mean, obviously there are a lot of ideas and pitches for Spider-Man given the fact that he's one of the most popular, if not the most popular character in not only Marvel, but all of comic book history as a whole. But I came up with an idea on my own and I just had to share it. So without further ado, here's my pitch for the Spider-Man of the MCU reboot. This may be a bit of a hot take with the younger audience, but I would want an older Spider-Man. Someone who is realistically old enough to be a high school teacher. So early to mid-30s. Now, whether or not we recast Tom Holland is completely up to him in my mind. I personally would recast him, just for the fact that I think most characters in the MCU should be recast in the MCU reboot, along with the fact that Tom keeps hinting at the fact that he wants to leave Hollywood, but Tom is probably going to be closer to the age I want Peter to be by the time this reboot actually happens, and I do really like the casting. And I do believe that he could definitely play an older Peter Parker if given the opportunity. Now, I'm not going to focus on who I want to play Spider-Man. Fan casting is fun and all, but I'm not that great at it outside of this actor who looks like this character, so he might be good. So instead I'm going to be focusing mainly on the pitch. One thing that is abundantly clear is that the MCU really wants to use Miles Morales. I know Sony won't let them use the character until after the Spider-Verse movies are finished. I'm working under the assumption, or should I say hope, that those movies will be done by the time the reboot begins. Miles Morales is in this pitch, however, he would preferably not get his powers until at least the second movie. I want to give Peter a movie to himself in the reboot to allow the audience the chance to get a grasp of this new version of Peter, because even if the reboot does keep Tom, which again, I wouldn't, but it's up to them, it will still likely be a completely different version of Tom than the OG MCU Peter. Like I hinted at before, I would want Peter to be a high school teacher, specifically a high school physics teacher. Marvel has this obsession with putting Peter in a high school. However, many people, like myself, just want the chance to see the character grow up outside of the comics. I mean, Peter hasn't been in high school since his original run all the way back in the 60s, if you don't count the Ultimate Universe. I feel that making my high school teacher has the opportunity to be the best of both worlds. This way, we get to have an adult Peter Parker with adult problems while keeping the high school setting. Plus, I've always liked the idea of Peter as a teacher. That's why I was so disappointed when he was revealed to be Miles' teacher in the Insomniac games, only for him to be fired in the cutscene of the first mission immediately after revealing that. I'm also tired of constantly seeing Peter get his ass handed to him by life. So this is a Peter who more or less has his life together. Yeah, he struggles with rent and Aunt May's medical bills and a teacher's salary, but he's happy. He has a decent work-life balance with the whole Spider-Man thing, he has strong friendships and a healthy romantic relationship. His love interest is Mary Jane Watson. Not Michelle Jones Watson, although I did actually like that character. Not a redheaded Lois Lane, not Gwen Stacy given Mary Jane's name, she is Mary Jane Watson. A successful model who is more than a pretty face. She's not a, for lack of better words, bimbo. She's smart. She's just not as smart as Peter. She's supportive. She knows Peter is Spider-Man, and she knows what she signed up for when she agreed to be with him after knowing his priorities as a superhero. This is not Kirsten Dunst's Mary Jane. Dunst. Dunst? I don't fucking... Whatever. Okay. She's not going to cheat on Peter with his best friend while complaining that he doesn't pay enough attention to her. She isn't Jada Smith. I like to add that this is not me saying that Peter was not ever the one in the wrong in those movies. He definitely was neglectful and even straight up kissed another woman. But MJ cheated on every single partner she had in those movies. She was like trying to climb the ladder, like find the most powerful man in each movie and date them. It was very weird, very out of character. Another thing, Aunt May should still be alive. She is older than she was in the OG MCU. She is no longer in her 40s or 50s. She is late 60s, maybe early 70s. Something I feel like the movies have kind of forgotten about is the story possibilities that stem from having Aunt May be an old lady. Her health problems, mainly her heart issues, are a major aspect to plenty of my favorite Spider-Man projects, the biggest one being the spectacular Spider-Man TV series. Also, Uncle Ben should constantly be mentioned. He is probably the most important aspect of Spider-Man's mythos, in the sense that his death was the point that drives Peter to be Spider-Man. We aren't going to just completely ignore him like the OG MCU did. He should be mentioned at least once per movie. Obviously there's Aunt May and MJ, but I think we should go back to Harry Osborn as his best friend. Ned Leeds is nowhere to be seen. I liked his character too, but that's because I like Genki as Miles' best friend, and the MCU literally just used him and changed his name for some reason. Which is actually why, along with Miles being in Peter's class, I would want Genki to be one of Peter's students as well. Hell, let's go ahead and add Haley too. Sadly, there's not really any room for the Daily Bugle. I mean, it exists in this universe, Peter just doesn't work for it anymore. He did in the past, just not currently where the new MCU reboot is happening. While it is unfortunate that Peter has not really worked for the Daily Bugle since the Raimi trilogy, it just doesn't really fit the vision of my pitch. Peter being a high school physics teacher doesn't really allow him to work for the Daily Bugle. I mean, maybe he can do freelance work and only go in to collect his check, but that doesn't really allow him to have relationships with the people working there, so what's even the point of adding them from the story perspective at that point? As this is a seasoned Spider-Man, he should have an already established rogues gallery. He's already fought villains like Sandman, Rhino, Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, etc. This means that the villains he faces in his movies could potentially be someone he's gone up against before, which could honestly be a refreshing change. I'm kind of getting tired of Spider-Man no longer having actual connections to his own villains. Having them be a villain he's already fought before fixes that problem. So basically, in the second movie, Peter should take his class on a school field trip to a science lab, most likely Oscorp given his connection to Harry. On this field trip, Miles gets bitten by a radioactive spider. Peter is the only one to see this happen, and understands the severity of it. In the following weeks, he pays close attention to Miles to keep an eye out for any potential superpowers. When he's sure that he has them, Peter reveals his identity to Miles and vows to train him. I like the idea of Peter's lessons in class relating to the villains they're going up against outside of class, as a way to secretly teach Miles how to defeat these villains during class without the rest of the class finding out about what's actually happening. Did I say class enough? So yeah, that's basically it. That's my pitch for how Peter Parker's Spider-Man's side of the rebooted MCU should work. Let me know if you want an actual movie pitch. I'd be happy to come up with one. Hell, maybe two. I'll probably come up with some other pitches for the other sides of the MCU reboot if I enjoy making this video enough. I already have the script for the X-Men one written, so I guess stay tuned for that. Anyway, with all that being said, I guess it's time for me to wish you all a good morning, good evening, or good night. I love you all platonically, except for one of you. You know who you are. Bye-bye.